Hey everybody, sorry about that. I had an audio issue, but I'm back. So we are obviously following the situation in Appleton, and if you want to follow along, it is on our website, WBAY.com, with the latest information. So I'll pull up what we have going on at the scene here as I kind of read along, because we are updating our website as we speak. And so we're just loading some video there. But if you want to just read here with me, authorities are asking people to stay in their homes. You might have already heard this, and there's the video there for us. But it's what police are calling a disturbance that may involve a weapon. So this is at the 1100 block of Lemonwa Street, is what a couple of people have told us how to pronounce that. So if you are in that area, you've probably already heard this, but they're advising you to shelter in place. We do have a crew there at the scene, and we've been also in first alert traffic with Catherine. She's been talking about that as well. Highway 96 closed in Appleton there between Law Street and Ballard Road as well. And it looks like we might also have an update from Appleton Police. I'm going to pull that up right now. And it's on their Facebook page. And they're saying one suspect is in custody. Officers are in the area and still actively working the scene, and they just thank everybody for their patience. So this was again, the 1100 block of Lemonwa, where they believe a weapon was involved in that, and it sounds like one person has been arrested. So we'll pull out of that video here and get to the daily lineup and other stories that we want to get to. And again, all of that will be on our website, and our crew will update everybody on what's happening there. And again, those roads are still closed, I can imagine, near East Wisconsin Avenue between Ballard Road and Meade, and eastbound lanes of Wisconsin Avenues, which is also Highway 96, are closed. So Catherine was saying that you could take Ballard or Richmond north to Northland Avenue, and then you can use that to go east and west. So we'll keep following that story and let you know what comes out of that, especially now with that suspect who has been arrested. But another story that we want to talk about is one we were following all morning, is a man accused of killing his parents in Wolf River. He will be back in court today. You may have heard the name Eric Medzik, who is accused of killing his parents. I'm going to pull up those details right here. And that was the streets. There we go. So he is facing 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide in the deaths of his parents, David and Jan Medzik. So we should find out if he's found an attorney after he didn't actually qualify for a public defender. That criminal complaint, as you know, David Medzik, 72, Jan Medzik, 71, they were found dead in their home with gunshot wounds, and they were the owners of the popular Union Star cheese factory, and we've been following that story since it happened. Eric Medzik himself, he's 25 years old. A little bit more here is that a gun was found on the kitchen counter, according to police. In the garage, they said that they found a Glock 9mm handgun in a garbage bag, and several bullets near their bodies as well. He was later found, Eric Medzik was later found at a YMCA in Kimberly, where the complaint is talking about how it says that he told staff members he was upset about his family and looking for an apartment. Some of these details were what we were talking about this morning with Kristen Allen. He'd been living with his parents at the time of their deaths, is what we were also learning. And the criminal complaint goes on to say that police found red smears, which are believed to be blood, in his vehicle. There was also a journal, police say, in his bedroom that had writings that said he wanted to eliminate his parents and make it look like they disappeared. So he is being held on a $1 million cash bond. He's been ordered to surrender his passport. But we are expected again to see him in court. We'll keep you posted on what comes out of that. And I should have just pulled up the photo of his parents there. That's David and Jan Medzik. So again, we'll keep everybody posted on what's happening with that. Another story that we want to get to is condolences pouring in after 2 officers were killed in Barron County, Wisconsin. This story I'm going to use our website for, actually. and take this one down here, and you can follow along. But according to our sister station, KSTP, one of the victims from this shooting in Barron County is an officer. It sounded like a reporter was the one who was able to speak to friends and family of that officer. I think we have her photo here. I'm going to try to pull that up here. Officer Emily Bredenbach. And so her brother, the officer's brother, told KSTP reporter Renee Cooper to know her was to love her. So she was able to chat with some of those family members. And I'll take this down. So a squad car draped in black and covered with flowers. I think it's in the video here. It's going to come up here in a second. But it's become a memorial for that officer. That's what Governor Tony Evers was saying here. He's saying our hearts are heavy a day after 2 police officers were shot to death during a traffic stop. Some more of that information. Chetek actually is where she was working. Pretty sad story there, but we have the full details there. The suspect also died in this. Green Bay Police, they were also putting out a statement. Department of Justice issuing a statement talking a little bit more about this and saying at approximately 3:38 p.m. an officer from Chetek Police Department conducted a traffic stop. During that traffic stop, gunfire was exchanged. One of the police officers and one Cameron police officer died at the scene. So it sounds like we're still waiting to hear a little bit more about the other officer. So we'll keep you posted on that. But both of these stories that we've been following, I know it's some tough stuff to start out a Monday with, but pretty important as well. I'm going to see here. And thank you for being here and chiming in. Sorry about the beginning of that. I was trying to get batteries. If you guys should know that I was trying to get audio up and running, but you know, things happen. And my remote didn't have batteries. Typical Monday kind of stuff, you know. So I'm trying to get a couple of these stories here to actually run for you, some videos. I'm going to pull them up here. We do have a couple good stories too to get to. I'm going to load those up. We also have a consumer first alert. And you might remember in the town of Niagara, there was an explosion 1 year ago. And the couple, you might remember, survived. We actually spoke to that couple, our Brittany Schmidt did. And she's got a wonderful story lined up for us this evening. Here we go. That's been running. We've been kind of teasing it today so that you guys can watch it tonight on Action 2 News at 10. Here's a little bit of a preview for that.
Can beat our competition.
One year ago today, that mobile home exploded in the town of Niagara with Joe and Debbie Henricks inside.
Yeah, the couple woke to a cold trailer the morning of April 10th, 2022, I should say. The pilot light was out on the propane furnace. They didn't realize the furnace had malfunctioned and filled the entire home with gas until Joe lit the pilot light.
The Henricks survived the force and were airlifted to hospitals for immediate treatment. As they recovered in the hospital, family members helped pick up all of this debris you're seeing from the blast, heard 30 miles away.
Meanwhile, the community rallied behind them through donations and support. It's what the Henricks tell our Brittany Schmidt they remember most a year after the explosion.
Initially, the thoughts were more kind of the things I was feeling and experiencing and what happened next.
I think I cut it off a little bit, but that is on our website as well, WBAY.com. We're just looking outside here and we'll talk about the weather because it's going to be a really nice week this week. Just trying to get a couple of things going here. We also have a consumer first alert with Tammy Elliott about voice cloning. So there's an increasing concern that scammers are using technology to take the grandparent scam, which we've reported on, to a whole new level. So I'll let Tammy explain this one.
All right, thanks, Bo. A consumer first alert about voice cloning. There's an increasing concern scammers are taking the grandparent scam to a new level. Consumer experts say you can't trust the voice. Here's Tammy Elliott with this important consumer first alert.
This is a scary spin on the family emergency phone scam, what we typically call the grandparent scam, where it sounds like a grandkid is calling and asking for money in an emergency. The Federal Trade Commission is now urging people to be vigilant because voice clones could take this scam to a new level. How concerning is this to the Better Business Bureau?
Very concerning. You know, for years we've been telling people that you cannot trust caller ID, and now we're going to be changing that message to you can't trust caller ID. And now you cannot trust the voice on the other end sometimes.
Lisa Schiller is Director of Investigations and Media Relations with the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau. I asked her about this new alert from the FTC and how scammers use artificial intelligence to convince people to pay money.
They're taking voices, lifting them from social media and other sites with such content, and they're able to actually use voice cloning programs to make the voice sound exactly like your loved one, and you know, able to say exactly what they want that person to say.
Jimmy, is that you?
They'll ask you to pay or send money in ways that make it hard for you to get your money back. And if the caller says to wire money, send cryptocurrency, or buy gift cards and give them the numbers, that's a scam. And she says you need to be extra cautious.
What we're telling people now is you cannot trust the voice on the other end. If you receive a call that you believe might be from a loved one, a grandchild, that claims to be in trouble, that asks you to not notify their parents, they are asking for money, absolutely hang up the call. You want to verify, you know, that that person is, you know, who they say is calling. And in order to do that, you need to hang up that call and actually call that person directly.
I first reported on this about 3 years ago. It seemed pretty far-fetched, but with technology, voice cloning is becoming even easier. So far, the FTC doesn't have data on how many scams might be the result of voice cloning, but as we know, it's best to get out in front of the latest threats so you can protect yourself and your loved ones. Tammy Elliott, Action 2 News.
Some good information there from our Tammy Elliott. That's also online on our website. I'm also looking for a good story here from Marinette Powerlifting Powerhouse. So more than 700 athletes competed at the USA Powerlifting High School Nationals earlier this month. So we talked about this, I think it was last week, but it was including several from Marinette's team. And so our Eric Boynton with Action 2 Sports did a full story, which we were excited to hear from them. And here's that story from our Sunday night newscast yesterday. I should say Sunday Sports Night, and you'll see Adriana Torres here.
Now, more than 700 athletes competed at the USA Powerlifting High School Nationals earlier this month, including several from Marinette's team, one local athlete even being crowned. Eric Boynton has more on this growing sport.
I started powerlifting when I was in high school, and I fell in love with the sport. And I always decided that when I got to being in school district, I wanted to be a teacher, that I was going to start my own powerlifting program.
They're building something in Marinette, a powerlifting powerhouse.
So we started Marinette Powerlifting in 2016, and we started out with 4 lifters, and now we had a team of over 60.
I originally got into lifting with my dad because he's a personal trainer, and then I just came and lifted after school one day, and powerlifting was going on, and I just figured why not join. And then I went to my first meet, and I just realized that powerlifting is for me because it's a great experience.
I got into it for football. I wanted to get bigger, faster, stronger, as Coach Anderson always says. And then I heard about powerlifting. I was like, oh, this is a great way to get bigger, faster, stronger.
Not just a way to train for another season, powerlifting is a growing sport throughout the state and nation.
It's similar to wrestling, where there are different weight classes. And then there are 3 lifts: squat, bench, or deadlift. You get 3 attempts at each lift. And what they do is they take your best lift of each one and they add it all together, and that's your total.
Success wasn't immediate for Gordon Langer, though.
I was very happy to see just how far I've come, because my freshman year at state, I failed. I got disqualified. I couldn't compete for any medals. And just to see that I've now won state my senior year just shows how much I've improved.
Eventually, he worked his way to become a champion, not just at the state level, but also at nationals.
kind of on top of the world that I did it. Everything I worked for is been completed. It wasn't for nothing.
It's just such a tribute to Gordy as a person. He's our team captain this year, and he is someone that is always trying to help everybody else. He is such a sweet personality, but the heart and dedication that he has, this is something that he absolutely deserves.
State championships, national championships already checked off the list. So what about the world? Well, you can check that one off the list as well.
The original world record was 540 pounds, and I deadlifted 545 to break the world record. I was like contemplating if I was going to be able to break the state record, and I broke the state record, and I was like, let's see what the world record is. And then I looked at the world record, and it was obtainable, and I reached my goals, and I worked towards it, and I broke the world record of my deadlift for my age and weight.
Only a sophomore, Lance Kurz has plenty left to accomplish and doesn't have to look far for the proof that it can be a reality.
My goal is to eventually win state, hopefully next year, or nationals. I could win both, but my overall goal is to be a national champion by the end of high school. It makes me realize that it's possible. Having someone push me to be a national champion because they have already been a national champion, it pushes me more.
In Marinette, Eric Pointed, Action 2 Sports.
Doing some pretty amazing things here. Okay, let's talk about our forecast and the roads. Roads are looking pretty good. If you look closely here, this is a look at today's forecast. This is just from Steve Balon's Twitter account, but he says that morning clouds, maybe a few sprinkles, even has a question mark because it's possible with some of those heavier clouds. But then turning sunny, we've got warmer temperatures, a little breezy, but a high of 69 with those low 70s west of the Fox cities, which is pretty great. But he also says widespread 70s likely throughout the week on through Friday. So we're really excited about that. Record warmth possible by midweek. So it's going to be a really nice day, very similar to yesterday's, actually a little bit warmer, obviously, but pretty nice day overall for a Monday. Just checking back here, I want to make sure we look at our website and make sure we covered everything. Again, we'll keep following what's happening there in Appleton with one person now in custody after that disturbance. Officers still on the scene as well as our crew, so we'll keep everybody posted. And then we talked about the 2 officers that were killed in Barron County, Wisconsin. And then make sure you tune in for Brittany Schmidt's story of those survivors that survived. They survived that explosion in Niagara 1 year ago. And yes, we'll be also following the latest with Eric Metzig, the man accused of killing his 2 parents who were popular cheesemakers in our area. He's due back in court for their murders, and we'll see what happens with that. Any other stories you could see down below? There's that Marinette powerlifting story we've got. This one we also had this morning with the first bears out of hibernation in Wisconsin, so a little bit of a reminder of what to do there. And you'll get that all on WBAY.com. Make sure you tune in here pretty soon for Action 2 News Mid-Morning with Catherine and Steve. They'll keep you posted on everything going on in the weather world and the news world. And then I will see you back on the air for Action 2 News at noon. Have a great day.